Something a bit different today on Dirty Linen. Hello, it is Dani Valent with you. Today I am bringing you with me to a restaurant. We are in country New South Wales in Mudgee, about 4 hours from Sydney through the Blue Mountains and into the beautiful, rich agricultural area around Mudgee. We are at Tinja Farm and visiting the Zin House. So it's really exciting to be here on Wiradjuri country eating this beautiful lunch. It's a tasting menu, and the first array of snacks has just been brought out to us by Chef Jack Brown himself. Wow, what a great little series of snacks. So there was some really so delicious, perfectly smoky kangaroo pastrami. Kangaroo is such a lean meat, but there was, I don't know, the way it was smoked and skewered, really found the juiciness in the pastrami as well. Kangaroo tartare, I mean, I think raw kangaroo is such an underappreciated way of preparing it, but it works so well. Pretty classic French style, but with some lemon myrtle, really beautiful. And a chicken liver parfait with munchies, which I love. The awesome Althea sourdough, which is part of the family of businesses at Tinja Farm, was served with some wattle seed butter. So we are off to an excellent start. It's excellently paired, I've got to say, with the low sparkling, which is glistening beautifully in the afternoon sunshine. So the next dish that was brought up by Chef Jack Brown is a kind of Murray cod ceviche. So lightly torched Murray cod. We're far from the ocean here, so a native river fish makes a lot of sense. It's sliced and sort of rebuilt in a beautiful little bowl, and the flavours with it are a Banksia flower vinegar, seasoned with a bit of lime, and then there's finger lime, river mint, and other garden herbs. I'm really feeling a sense of place with this dish. Like, there's a lot of zing. There's that sort of, what do you call it? Like a sort of compact richness from the Murray cod. And it just comes together in a really bright, tasty dish with a lot of presence, but it's very fresh. And it's paired with an ansonica, so one of the warmer weather varieties that's been grown here in the climate change area, the Latin Quarter, depending on who's talking to you about it, but definitely looking to the future with some of these Italian varietals. And the ansonica is so lively, so fresh, and works beautifully with this Murray cod ceviche. Really off to a strong start here at the Zin House. So I said a couple of words about the setting before, the beautiful view and the fact that we're in an old house with various rooms, but I just want to talk a bit more about how beautiful it is here. The afternoon sun is slanting in through windows, but I don't know, how do people make spaces so nice, so welcoming? It's there's a mixture of different rustic furniture and I don't know how to talk about these things, but, big candles by the fireplace that's beautifully tiled. There's a concrete floor, but it's got Persian rugs over it. Just so beautiful flowers, some autumn branches, gorgeous art, big mirrors. And just, light coming in perfectly from every direction. Special mention to the quirky chandeliers, deer with antlers around crystal cascading towards the floor. It's all just very beautiful. Everything is just so, and very welcoming. And then if you look out the back door past the patio, there are even some emu walking by. It's an incredibly picturesque setting. So as well as being a restaurant, a winery, vineyard, productive vegetable and fruit farm, there are also animals here on Tinja Farm. So there are Angus beef, there are Dorper lamb, there's some laying chickens, there's even a dairy cow. I believe her name is Amy. We're eating our main course now. It's chicken. It's farmed locally, but it's not from the property, but it is delicious. And when Chef Jack Brown brought the plate to the table, he was excited. And I think whenever you hear a chef excited about chicken, you probably want to listen, because I'm probably not too out of line in saying that a lot of chefs find it a pretty boring meat to cook with. And that's because chicken is so often a boring meat, but these are big, juicy birds. Jack said they're as big as turkeys. And that really comes through in the flavour, the different layers of the meat in this Ballantine. Really beautiful, like thin, crisp skin, beautifully rendered fat, and it's so juicy, really delicious. There's a lot going on with this plate. It's the main course. I think if you're having it as part of an a la carte menu, it would be a really perfect main course with all these different things on the plate. There's a beautiful, nicely reduced jus with some muncheries braised in it. There's a few different mushrooms foraged locally. There's some greens from the garden. There's a couple of different purees, a pumpkin one, which is also from the garden. I don't know, I feel like for a tasting menu, you could probably have a couple of elements less on the plate and it would shine even more, but it's definitely delicious. It's served with some really, really sweet baby beetroot and lettuce, greens from the garden, just really beautiful. Everything looks so beautiful in this afternoon light as well. That chicken dish follows on from a pasta course. So there's always some pasta on here at the Zin House. This was a kangaroo dish, so I guess we had some kangaroo elements with our snacks, and this is following up with the braised tail as part of a big ravioli that's made with warrigal greens through the dough, and then there's also a warrigal greens velouté. This was a really lovely dish, so a big, meaty, substantial raviolo with a lovely braised tail inside. It's gorgeous. Love to mention the wine that's served with the chicken. It's Cabernet Franc, so that's normally a part of a blend, but it's really gentle and silky and works beautifully with the chicken. Really enjoying this meal. It's giving me a lot to think about in terms of local produce. Something else that's really important to know about the property here is that Nathan Lovett, who's CEO of the National Indigenous Culinary Institute, is farming native produce here for use at the Zin House, but also as part of a business which sells different plants to restaurants in Sydney. It's really exciting to see this produce used with such care, sensitivity, thought, and a kind of anchoring here at the Zin House with Chef Jack Brown as he is in his residency. A lot of passion on the plate. So we're drawing to the end of a really beautiful, connected, resonant meal here at the Zin House. This restaurant is founded and under the very watchful and creative eye of Kim Curry, but at the moment it's really fun to be here with Chef Jack Brown in residence. It's also important to mention that we're eating a lot of produce from the Nawayila Boraja part of Tinja Farm, which Nathan Lovett farms. So there's saltbush, there's pepperberry, river mint, lots of other natives that are grown here and threaded through this menu in a really creative, sensitive and anchored way. So it's a special experience. I think every restaurant in Australia at the moment, great restaurant would be trumpeting its connection to produce. But there's really nothing like enjoying that produce on the land that it is grown. So it's really special to be here experiencing that. The meal rounded out with a couple of sweeter dishes. So there was a Davidson plum sorbet, which was really bright and fresh and zingy and, reawakened the palate for dessert, which was really fun and clever and showed a really good use of native ingredients as well. So built in a bowl, beautiful bowl. The ceramics here are handmade, bespoke by Karen Farrell, and shout out to Karen because they really do add to the experience. Really beautiful textured pottery with a lot of weight and I think, helps anchor the food. It's really very cool. So the dessert was a bunyonut brown butter, which was at the base of the bowl. And then it was built in various layers with flavours of wattle seed and caramel, a beautiful crisp biscuit, brown and tan tones, but all different textures, different sweetness and a lot of saltiness, some crunchy crumb that riffed with the nice flat crunch of the biscuit. Really clever dessert. So it's been a great experience here. I think that the Zin House is great in any season, but to be here in late autumn with the vines changing colour, the change of the seasons with still some real fresh ingredients, but also pumpkin coming through. It's been a really beautiful experience. So Jack, we've had a beautiful lunch of your menu, seen a little bit of you in action in the kitchen. I want you to talk about, what of yourself you're putting into this. Like, how important is it to you that you're cooking this food?
It's kind of everything to me, and I think that when you're a chef, you don't ever stop being a chef. It consumes my whole life, and I think that the more that I dive into it, the more satisfied I am with my job, which makes me happy. And I think that, at the end of the day, I'm not actually selling people, food and wine. We're selling people happiness, and to be able to be involved in capturing those moments is extremely special. And I think that the more that I discover myself, the more things that I can actually bring to the table when it comes to restaurants.
You told me before that you put on your nomad apron, and that when you put it on, it's quite meaningful to you. Like, talk about that.
It's one of those things. I put it on with pride because it makes me think about how far that I've actually come within my career and within my life. Back when I was, in the Nomad Kitchen in Surrey Hills, I wasn't even thinking about this kind of food. It was a Middle Eastern Mediterranean restaurant run by Jackie Challoner, who's such an inspirational chef, not just to me, but to lots of people. And I think that, every time that I put on something that I used to have, like if it was a Barrel Zin apron or if it was a Nomad apron, it just has that little moment of realisation that I'm doing things for myself now.
I've had this beautiful meal here and, really enjoyed the way the native ingredients are threaded through the menu and, you're exploring all those new flavours. But I don't know how to say this right, but it almost made me feel angry that I wasn't eating like that more often. What do you think?
Well, it doesn't make me angry. I think that it is frustrating. It definitely is frustrating, and I think that it's also a nice point of the journey of and the narrative behind my cooking is the question of why are we not doing this? And so I think that the more that like I said yesterday, the more that I cook like this, it becomes more exciting for the diners and it becomes more exciting for me. And if I can hit that emotional point of anger and say, and then I know that I'm doing my job right.
This is Dirty Linen, and I'm Dani Valent. We air the issues that the hospitality industry finds hard to talk about, hearing from different people with unique perspectives. We want to hear from you as well. If you have something that needs to be said about a topic, get in touch so we can include your perspective. Contact us at dirtylinenat.deepintheweeds.com.au or hit us up on Insta at Dirty Linen Podcast. We can't wait to hear from you.
This